All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Glenn Cunningham, team leader, Keller Williams, Realty Little Rock. Today, got a very special guest. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Andy Gibson.
Thanks
for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. One of my favorite people here. It's good stuff. So I'm excited for this one. So, all right, Andy. So for those of you, those are the people out there that just don't know you, tell me a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, been in real estate going on 10 years, starting January 1st. And came to Keller Williams, 12 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we're finishing out our 12th month.
Mm-hmm.
And I am as excited to be at Keller Williams today as I was a year ago.
That's great.
And I've got so much that I'm planning on doing in 2023.
Love that.
We're just looking forward to it.
I love that. Love that. So what'd you do before real estate?
Before real estate, I was in geriatric healthcare marketing and sales. I was a marketing director for several assisted livings, several home healths, several hospices. And so I worked with seniors and I worked in the healthcare field.
Okay, so why real estate?
Well, real estate is a perfect match for my skills, my passions, my interests, because I truly enjoy working with people, solving problems, and I really enjoy real estate. Before I became a realtor, I was going to say about 16 years ago. So again, I've been a realtor for 10 years, but 16 years ago, I stopped off at a real estate school and asked all the questions about, how do I get started and how much does real estate school cost and how long does it take? And I was a busy professional and I just didn't feel like it was the right time to fit it into my calendar. And so I put it off for 10 more years. And I really regret that. But I love houses, love people, love solving problems. And before I became a realtor, my wife and I, when we first got married, we would go, some good fun is on Sundays going to open houses of these grandiose mansions, 2 to 4 Sunday. We'd go out to eat after church, and then we would hit as many open houses as possible. And I believe in probably a 10-year period of time, we probably went to 500 houses.
Wow.
And we just dreamed about, living in a house like that. At that point, we weren't homeowners. We lived in an apartment. And it was really exciting. And I always knew in the back of my mind that real estate, one day I would work in real estate. So.
Cool. You made it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. Love that. So, well, good. Like you said, you just joined KW, basically this time last year, right? It was January 2022, so you're coming up on 1 year.
Yes.
Brag on yourself here for a second. How's this year treated you?
I have done better this year, finishing my 9th year, than any previous year. But you said brag on myself. That was to be expected.
Okay.
And so I sold 8.5 million this year. Last year was probably $1 million less, and on target for selling about 10 to 14 million next year.
Love it.
And I have increased my price per unit. My average price per unit was $189, and my price per unit now is $236. And had I stayed where I was, I would have been selling houses at $189, not $236. So
yeah, I get it. That's great. Cool. Well, good. So, so like you said, earlier, we've been talking about this already, is you started with another firm, you've been there for a while, and then you chose to come to KW. I know that we talked several times for quite a while before you made that decision. So I always like to ask, why KW? What made you come over?
Why KW? Well, after a long period of arm twisting. No.
And I'm way stronger than you, right?
Yeah. Like, can I have my arm back? No, KW. I wrote down a little list here, and this is not an exhaustive list, but this is what came to mind. Technology is amazing at Keller Williams. Simply amazing, and simply unavailable at any of the places I was previous. I was at 2 previous brokerages. A better split. I wanted a brokerage that had an office out of Little Rock because I thought that would help me with my price per unit, and it has. Now, I've still gotten to sell where I want to, but just a brokerage out of Little Rock has been helpful to me. The training. Keller Williams is famous for its training, and the books and the training and the programs and the courses and the classes, bold, really that level of accountability. I've never experienced anything like that, and it was what I needed. And I had a little bit of a love-hate relationship with how much accountability was there, but in the end, when I was done, I was like, that's what I needed. I needed a coach. I needed a boot camp. I needed somebody to pull out of me that more. They saw in me more potential than I would say even that I saw in myself. And there were moments in bold. There was one particular moment that I got pretty emotional. I don't know if you were there that day.
Yeah, I was there for all of
them. But I got pretty emotional because I was thinking about, for the first time, how many people I could help and to what degree. And it overwhelmed me. I just started to realize that I can tap into more of that. I have more of that in me. And I can continue to grow year after year and just do more and more and more and help more people. And it's exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like it helps you think bigger.
Oh, I didn't go down my whole list.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so technology, a better split, a brokerage out of Little Rock, the training. This is kind of a small one, but it's not if you don't have it. Commission checks auto-deposited. Don't have to drive around and take a paper check to a bank.
Yeah.
And having a TC and an assistant, a transaction coordinator and an assistant. So we'll get into more of that later.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that for sure. Yeah,
okay.
I love those. Great list. So how was the process coming over?
It was smoother than expected, and it was very smooth. It was very easy. That's one of my largest hurdles and hesitations. Is I had moved one other time in my real estate career, and it was a challenge, and it seemed to go on and on. You know, you've got to get new signs and new name tags and new website and change your license and your Facebook page and just on and on and on. Then you have to learn all these new systems, and I came in and sat down in Eric's office, and within probably 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes, we had new signs, new name tag, new business cards ordered. Boom, boom, boom. Easy peasy. And I was blown away at how smooth the transition was.
Yeah, and you weren't doing a small amount of business. It wasn't like you were doing one deal a month or one every other month. Like, you were rocking. Like, you were doing 30 plus deals a year. And we had to move and
it was so smooth that I really don't remember it being, I don't remember any problems or anything to overcome. It was just, once I told you, we filled out a couple forms, and then I met with you, and then I met with Eric, and I was off to the races.
Yeah, love that. I didn't prep you for this one. I'm going to hit you left field on this one.
Okay.
But I know when we were talking, you know, obviously we're one of the largest brokerages out there. We have about 300 agents, right? And you left a firm that had about 14.
Correct.
And I remember when we went to St. Louis for one of those training events, you mentioned to me that was one of your reservations because you didn't want to go get lost in the shuffle. You didn't want to be a number if you will. And then when you
Correct.
came over here, you mind sharing with me what
Yeah.
you told me?
Okay. Yeah, that wasn't on the list.
I know. I gotcha.
I did come over from a brokerage with 14, and now I'm at one with 300. And I did feel like the potential for getting lost in the crowd was there. However, Keller Williams stepping up, as it always does, at none of the past brokerages where I have been did I get a shout out on the Facebook page for my birthday, but I did here. And none of the other brokerages did I get a specific shout out to me when I hit my cap. Like, congratulations.
Yeah.
But I got that here, and so it was Dahlia who does that.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. Now, I don't do what I do for those reasons, but it was very personal. And when I come to the meetings here, I know everybody's name, everybody knows my name. We have lots of events, and we have social events, and I go to most of those. And it has been, I have been able to make friends, befriend a lot of the agents here closer than I had at the smaller agency, which was a surprise to me. And I'm glad it's been that way.
Yeah, I love that. I appreciate it. Kind of bleeds into the next one. I was going to ask you, so since you've been here, what's been the biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise. The biggest surprise is going to be how great the technology is, and how much automatic help there is built in to helping you utilize it. Now, as far as my abilities to use technology, I don't feel like I'm a dinosaur, and I also don't feel like I am some 18, 17, 18-year-old kid who knows how to do everything with technology. I'm somewhere in the middle, which there is when I step into a new brokerage, there's quite a learning curve. And Sam met with me the first day. To go along with this, I would say I had not been utilizing my database with my 7,047 contacts at all. And so I was missing a lot of opportunity of doing second and third business with my existing clients. National Association of Realtors put out a study, and I don't know if I'm going to quote it correctly, but something like a year after a realtor does a transaction with the buyer, that something like 95% of people forget their name. And so this technology and using my database is the first time now that I'm going to be unforgettable with all of my clients. And I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and I said, you're going to notice you're going to get some more emails from me and some more texts from me. And I'm just calling to say hi and how's the family. And he said, we're doing well. And he said, yeah, I've been noticing you've been all of a sudden communicating a lot more.
That's great.
And interestingly enough, some of the 36 touch program that we have that allows you to reach out to your people in your database, it reaches out to them. It says hi and the name that you put on the database. Well, I thought it was interesting, funny, caused me to follow up with a phone call to say, what did you think about this? My dad is in my database, and he's listed as Daddy. And so this email said, hi, Daddy. And then it just goes on to say what I sent out to everybody else.
Sure.
And so I called my dad and I said, hey, did you get that email? And he's like, yeah. And I said, well, and I explained to him what it was and what I'm doing, and he's like, well, good job.
Good.
That sounds like you're doing what you need to do
Mm-hmm.
to grow your business. And I said, I am.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Love it. You may have already answered this. I'm going to ask it anyway because I wrote it down, but I wrote down here, what KW tools or models do you find most useful to your business now?
Tools.
Obviously, Command is a big one with
Command, tools. I would say Command and the 36 touch program within that, the Smart Plan.
Mm-hmm.
Twilio is part of that, reaching out to people, and doing it in such a way that I am not in people's face constantly asking them, hey, do you need a realtor? Hey, do you need to buy a house? Hey, do you need to sell a house? But doing it in a more professional, friendly, helpful approach to remain unforgettable. But I think the 36 touch Smart Plan program through Command, allowing me to utilize my database. I've got this giant database that I still have not tapped into fully, but once I do, I will be able to triple and quadruple my repeat business on the people who are in my database. So I had a reply to a local news anchor who shall remain nameless, but a household name. I sent out this 36 touch program that it said, hey, if you are doing any remodeling at your house and you need some well-vetted professional vendors who can help you with that remodel, just let me know and I can send you my professionals in, plumbers, flooring people, HVAC, landscapers, whoever you need. And so I didn't even realize that I had this celebrity's name and email address amongst my 7,047 contacts. And he replies back and he's like, yeah, my wife and I are going to be doing some remodeling and we need a flooring guy. Cool. And so I immediately replied back to him and sent him a flooring person who I had used in my own home. So I really felt good about sending them that contact. And so that guy's going to remember my name.
Yeah, it's value.
And it's a lot of value.
Yeah. That's great. Love that. Cool. So, okay, next one. I know you've learned a ton since you've been here. Try to narrow this down for me. What's the one thing you've learned since you've been here that's just changed your business or had the biggest impact on your business?
How to leverage my time. That's the biggest thing. How to leverage my time.
I'd say so.
Because I hired a virtual assistant through Cyberbacker, and shout out to Marvin Gonzalez, and she's amazing. She's great with technology. I describe her as someone who can think around the corners. It's as if in the evenings she looks at my schedule, she looks at what all we've been doing, and then she'll send me a text in the evening or in the morning, say, hey, are you doing this, and I'm doing this for you. If I get anytime I add a new lead program, like I added a new lead program about a week ago, and I was on the treadmill this morning at the gym, and I got a text from my assistant, hey, have you called the lead that you got this morning? And I had not called that lead. Yeah. And so that's just amazing. That's great. And then also just the fact that she has taken, I'm going to say 95% of my paperwork off my plate entirely. She uploads my photography to my listings. She communicates with my title companies. She communicates with the co-op agents. She communicates with the co-op agents, TCs, and virtual assistants as well. And it frees me up to work on growing my business. Instead of working in my business, I can work on it.
Well, one thing I want to give you a shout out on, kudos to you, because you got to go on a 5-week vacation. Yeah, went to Lithuania, all over the place over there, and I think while you were gone, correct me if I'm wrong, you closed 5 deals while you were gone.
5 deals
Is that
while
right?
I was gone.
And you were not on your phone and laptop every day, as in like you had been the previous 9 years.
Right.
Correct?
Yep. I've taken the same trip the previous 9 years, and I had taken my laptop in all those previous 9 years, and it was there were times where I was so frustrated with how much work was following me to the other side of the globe, and I would have to, get on the computer and do all these forms, and it was quite frustrating. It made me second guess whether or not I needed to or should take a trip like this anymore. And so this is the first year. I was in Lithuania, and my assistant, who at that point was relatively new to me, we were doing a phone call, and she said, "Do you want to just forward your phone to me the rest of the trip?"
Nice.
And I was like, I can't believe that you'd be willing to do that. But yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And
Think about letting go.
And so I just forwarded my phone, and when I got back and we did a meeting about how it all went, she said, "Andy, you get a lot of phone calls." And because she was the one getting them all. She realized what it's like to be me daily. And I said, "Yeah, I do. And she's like, yeah, okay. I took care of it all.
Yeah.
And I said, "Thank you so much." And we have a great working relationship. It's been amazing.
I love it. So what was that like? You were able to be over there for 5 weeks with your family. You weren't on a phone every 5 seconds. You weren't on your laptop every evening. What did that mean to you?
It felt like, what did it mean to me? Let's see. I could be more present. I could be less distracted. I would say that most realtors who do a fair amount of volume and then take a giant trip, especially when they've got closings in their pipeline, they've got title companies sending out to settlement statements, they've got other agents wanting to schedule inspections, and then you've got the inspection repair survey addendum with the repairs to handle that form back and forth and all this stuff. Some general addendums flying around, people changing funding payer sources, and it can, like I said before, it can dampen your joy, your ability to enjoy being on the trip so much that you're like, should I have even taken this trip? It would have been easier to just not go anywhere. And it allowed me to be free and to feel, to leverage my time. And I'm going to go this year probably to Lithuania twice, which will be the first time I've ever gone twice.
Okay.
One of those will be a little bit shorter trip, but one of them will be about 5 weeks.
Okay.
And probably going to go on at least one cruise this year.
You did that too.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, that's one thing I enjoy about being a realtor, and then Keller Williams helps me do that even better, is the independence, the freedom. To a lot of people in a lot of careers, I think they tell themselves, well, when I retire someday, when I'm 65 or 66, then we can travel. And I think it's a shame if you've got time, energy, and money to do it now. Go now. Do it now. Life is short.
Yeah, I love that. So good. All right, we're going to wrap this thing up here. Last question. I may squirrel on a few, but advice for any agents out there that just aren't hitting their goals, what would you say?
Well, they're probably not at Keller Williams. So the first step would be to come to Keller Williams.
Okay, got it.
I would say they need to sit down with you and do what you did with me and help open my eyes to not just the potential, but okay, here's the potential, and then here's how you capitalize on your potential.
Mm-hmm.
Precisely, step by step. You were the first person who sat down with me, invested in me, and showed me there's more in there, and it's not, you don't just have to leave it as potential.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this, and then you'll end up helping more people, making more money, and you'll be able to hit your goals and have higher, increase your dreams and have higher goals and then achieve those.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, squirrel right on with that. So let's say I'm an agent and I'm only doing a couple deals a year, 2, 3, 4, 6, whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
I just need to do more. Like you looking in the rearview mirror, you're doing say 35 deals a year, 8.5 million right now. I'm going to do 14 million next year.
Okay.
What would you tell yourself 10 years ago if you just started doing this? You would have been doing dozens of deals year 1, not 6.
I would have told myself 10 years ago that I should have started with Keller Williams in the first place. And if I would have started at Keller Williams in the first place, I would have done, I absolutely know without a shadow of doubt, that I would have done probably 4 to 5 times the amount of production that I did my first year. And I think that there's never been a year in my 9 years of selling that I haven't sold more. But there are some years that there wasn't much of a jump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I would tell myself, I think that I can jump higher based on how high I got the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Each time I jumped a little higher from that point. And I don't want to dwell on that too much because instead of selling 8.5 million, I might have already been selling 14 million. But I'll get there.
Yeah.
And I'll get there very soon.
Sure. So would you say it's more of like, I don't know, we say time blocking a lot. Do you think are you more diligent now with like the time that you give to your business? You're a little more structured, a little more organized. Is there something to that degree that you would be doing differently?
Absolutely. Well, the fact that I set up the 36 smart plan, 36 touch smart plan,
mm-hmm.
and using command and using my cyberbacker assistant allows me that time to time block and work on my business. Prior to that, I found myself always being super distracted. Mm-hmm. Let's say I'd come into the office and I've got 2 appointments that day. Let's say one's a closing and one is to meet a new buyer. Mm-hmm. Well, the rest of the day, we're talking 5-6 hours, I'm going to be doing forms and contracts and general addendums and paperwork, and that wears on a person a lot. And so when you show up to show a brand new buyer a home for the first time, for example, in the evening after they've gotten off work, if I've been doing contracts and forms and all that for 4 or 5 hours that day, I'm probably not going to present my most rested, most peaceful self. I'm going to be kind of worn out when I show up at the end of the day. Right. Now with this, the better time blocking, the virtual assistant, the 36 touch program, a lot of this stuff's on autopilot. It frees me up to provide better service to my clients, the kind of service that they would expect to get.
Cool. I like it. On the flip side, last thing is take it to the other extreme. Let's say I'm an agent that's working 50, 60 hours a week. I can't take a vacation. If I'm there, I'm on my laptop the whole time. We've already talked about this a little bit, but what's your best piece of advice for those people?
Well, that person needs to come to Keller Williams and realize that there are things in place here that can help them to balance their lives a whole lot more than what they have. I think there are people out there who think, I was only able to make this much money because I put in 60 hours a week. I think they could probably do more than whatever they did working 40 hours a week. And that's 40 hours a week plus several long vacations a year, ongoing forever. And I'm talking about 2 or 3 or 4, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 week vacations a year, and working just 40 hours a week and selling more than you sell.
Which sounds crazy to most realtors out there right now.
I know it.
Because
I know it.
I mean, here's the deal. Being a team leader, I talk to a ton of agents every single week. And a lot of them are high-performing agents. And they're doing 30 deals a year, or maybe 40. And like, money's not the problem. If I ask them, do you want more time or do you want more money? It's always, how do I get more time?
Right.
And I say, well, if you could work less than 40 hours a week and you can make more money, what would that do for you? And their first thought is typically, that's not possible. Right? Because what they've been shown is that I have to work 50, 60 hours a week to get to this point. How in the world do I make more money doing less? But the answer that you found is it's leverage. It's not just selling a higher price point home.
Right.
It's not just, it's not just that. It's how do I leverage my time? That's the most important thing. And I love that you got to go on vacation and you get to give some time back to your family. And it wasn't just one. You got to go on a cruise. And I think it's the best of both worlds. You've made more money. You've had more time. Do it again next year.
Absolutely.
Love it. All right, well, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Glenn.
All right,
Thank you.
Perfect.